All right, let's try this again. Can you guys hear me this time? We'll see if... yeah, I'm not really sure. Are we good? Are we back? Sorry guys, I don't really know what's going on. I don't know if it's my connection or what, but it keeps buffering. All right, so we're good. All right, hopefully it stays that way. Um, so right, and what did we say? This has been where we've been all along. Nothing has changed, right? If you're entering into the market down here at these lower levels, you're taking advantage of the momentum of the market. I mean, these here, right, are the times of your lives to DCA into Bitcoin, and this is why we always say, you need to be the smart money coming in at these points, because if you were, you're already up 3x, and against the people who were, say, coming in now. There's a lot of people that were waiting until 10.5 to enter the market, and we said the minute Bitcoin gets above 10.5, it's off to the races. I mean, just forget about it, right? I mean, forget about it, because the sky is the limit in one sense. In another sense, you have to remember that we're on lengthening cycles. So you have to stay level-headed even during a time like this. I should remind you, right? I mean, this time over here in 2019 was extremely exciting. Arguably more exciting than what's going on right now, because the price went from 3,100 to 14,000 in the matter of 189 days. The price went up, let's see, 342% or so. This was insane. Now we're currently making a run, and what did we say a while back? We said this summer we think there's a good chance we're going to break out and go into another speculative bubble. At least it could be a shorter term speculative bubble. And if we go over here and put back on our regression line, so let's look at it. Let's see where we are. This was our fair value. So our fair value for Bitcoin back in 2018 was around 3,200. Okay, fair value 3,200. We stayed on our fair value trend line for approximately 3 months. So we were there 3 months. Okay. We came back into it. We saw this shorter term speculative bubble. We got rejected at around 14K. Back into our regression line. And for those who are unfamiliar with this regression line, let me zoom out so you don't just think it's some ridiculous regression line. So let me just show you guys here. So this is our logarithmic regression line, right, which is fit to non-bubble data. It's only fit to non-bubble data. It's not fit to all the data up here, where it doesn't make sense to fit it based on something that is an irrational phase. If your grandmother's buying Bitcoin when it was at $20,000, do you really want to fit something at that level? So the point, right, is let's fit it. And I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my bit rate is a little bit low. You guys can still hear me though, right? Everyone's still good. I just want to make sure, because I've been having a few issues with the stream recently, and I think it might just be because I'm further away from the router in the past. So I'll assume that everything's good to go. Now we'll get to the questions in a minute, guys. Just give me a minute to kind of do an introduction here. So this is our regression band, and we fit it to non-bubble data. It has been good so far. It's only fit, by the way, to data through the very end of 2018, maybe early 2019. I can't remember if it included any 2019 data or not, but it was only fit to this region here, in this region, and of course all the other quote-unquote non-bubble regions. Now, we did not fit it over here, and it still has done a decent job. One of the things we have to remember with Bitcoin, each market cycle, we're going to have to refit it. It doesn't mean that it's not useful for the market cycle that it's in. You just have to recognize that we know that the volatility is reducing, and it's going to be useful to refit it at some point. For now, though, I plan on just letting it ride. I mean, this is the same regression band we've been using for the last year, and so far it seems to have done a really good job. Now, the fair value of Bitcoin, according to the regression band, is 87.22. So you can see it right here, 87.22. The lower part of the band is 59.30. Well, I mean, you guys know it doesn't always correspond to the 200-week moving average, but you know what 51.30 is, right? I mean, it's just our 200-week moving average. Let's go ahead and add that on. So we'll add on the 200-week, so you guys can see where it is. Let's make it nice and bright. Okay, 200-week is at 62.56. And then the lower bound on our regression line, where is it? It's at 59.30. And if you zoom in, you can see they're actually converging. You know, you can see that the 200-week is going right here, and it's moving up, but at a slower at a less steep slope than our fair value regression fit. So this green line here, the band is historically the best time to buy Bitcoin. So when everyone is screaming that Bitcoin is dead and it's 3 to 4K, 3,500, this is when you say no, this is, what is it? It's business as usual. This is business as usual. Nothing has changed, and we just have to recognize that it's the story that Bitcoin has been telling for the last decade. The narrative has not changed. We go through boom and bust cycles one after another, and you find yourself being the smart money coming into the market down here or down here. Every time we're in the regression line, it has historically been smart money. So coming into the market in the regression line, not FOMOing in at the top of these speculative bubbles. So this the red line up here, the red regression line, what is that? It's you could call this our dumb money entrance into the market. So green line is smart money, red line is dumb money. The smart money buys down here and sells up here. The dumb money buys up here and sells down here. A lot of times the people that are the dumb money buying at those tops are the same people who could not afford to get that type of exposure at that level, and then when it's getting down here, they're capitulating and they're just completely checking out of the crypto market, and they're cashing out again right back to the smart money. I mean, this is just a transfer of wealth from dumb money to smart money. That's all it is. And the thing is, right, we know the market is going to becoming more efficient over time. We know this. We've looked at it before. If you look at the autocorrelation of Bitcoin, which is comparing the price of Bitcoin to a lagging version of itself, it's dropping. So what that means is that the market is becoming more efficient. And what does that mean? It means that the volatility, the macro level volatility, is reducing. Cycles are becoming less volatile. Annualized volatility is reducing, and the ROI that you can see from market cycle bottom to whatever the next peak is reducing. It does not mean you can't make a lot of money during that period of time. Even if Bitcoin goes from, say, 10K to 100K, that's a 10x at spot price. It's a 10x. Likely a lot of other coins will move a lot more significantly than Bitcoin during that time. But the point, right, is you stay focused. You dynamically, we made a video about this the other day. You dynamically enter the market based on the risk level. And when when we're on our fair value line, I mean, this is the time of your life. This is right here. This is the time of your life to enter the market. Is this the time of your life to enter the market? No. It's the time of your life to be taking profits and changing your life. And you need to remember that these euphoric moments that you feel, the euphoria, going through the market as Bitcoin is climbing. I mean, we said that, the minute Bitcoin breaks 10.5, it's going to flip a switch, and volatility is going to really start to move. And you can see it. I mean, we're up 8% already in the last 24 hours. 8%. Don't be surprised, right? I understand some of you are shouting about the gap that occurred. Of course, we can always come back down to 10K. I mean, that's common sense, guys. I mean, it's obvious that Bitcoin, it's volatile. I mean, that's to the upside and the downside. There's always a good chance that we come back down to 10K. there's always a chance we go back down to 6K. You have to consider this. I mean, this is not just let's all just pretend like it's just gonna be a fun ride to 100K. No, if you look at the last market cycle, right, what happened? Let's look at it on here. And let's go ahead and add on one more of those moving averages, because I know you guys like the 20 week. I mean, I certainly like it. Let's add on that 20 week moving average, and then let's make it thicker. So the 20 week, remember, this was our support in the last bull market. So every single time that Bitcoin saw a nice move, here was an 85% move, it retraced back down to the 20-week moving average, which, by the way, was a 23% retracement. Here we saw a 26% retracement. This was a 29%. Here, another 40%. Here's another one, 40%. This is going to be par for the course. And remember, each of those times, we came back down to the 20-week moving average. The 20-week moving average right now is at 83.06. Okay, so we're going to hold it as support at some point in order to confirm the bull market. I mean, you could say the bull market's already started. We've seen the golden cross, right? We're above the 20-week, but we really need to confirm it. And the reason you say that is because despite how bullish things seem, back in 2019, things were also really bullish, and we ended up not holding the 20-week and retracing all the way back down to $3,500. So watch out for the 20-week. We're probably going to hold it as support at some point. The nice thing is we might hold it as support 6 months from now, and the 20-week at that time could be $12,000 for all we know. And we said the 20-week will start increasing. We knew it was going to drop, because if you take a measured move from the current price and go back 20 weeks, you're going to start excluding these higher bars here in favor for lower bars. So we knew the 20 weeks was going to decrease in the short term. That's what it did. Now it's starting to exclude some of these down here in favor for some of the ones up here. So the 20 week is going to start increasing. So if we start increasing really quickly, commensurate with the price, if the price continues to stay healthy, then, the 20 week could be 10K by the time we test it. So obviously we can always fall back down to fill gaps. Certainly, I don't think that the 4-hour gap, as I mentioned, back at $3,500, I don't think that gap is important at all. It's something that the bears need to scream about. We had a bet actually with one of the guys in the Telegram channel. He was actually convinced that Bitcoin was going to drop to 20 or back down to 3,500. So we're going to have to give him the dumb money tag, because it was a bet whether if Bitcoin goes to 10.5 first, then he's going to get dumb money tag, because he was waiting to buy at 10.5, and then if it goes to 3,500, he'll get the smart money tag. So it looks like he lost that. If you guys want to check out that Telegram channel, I just put it in the comments there. So do check it out. We're getting close to 4,500 people. If you guys want to go chat about the markets after this stream is done, feel free to do so. There's a lot of people in there. I'm sure it's going crazy right now. So please check that out. Go tell him his name is Check. He's been waiting for 10.5, or he's been waiting for 10.5 to say, hey, you know what? This is where he's entering the market, despite the fact that it was supposedly going back down to 35. So just some fun in the channel. Go check it out. A group of great people. Now, looking back, right? I mean, I would expect us to hold the 20 week at some point again, but I don't know where that's going to be. Now, where does this leave us in the meantime? Because if we've broken 10.5, 10.5 was our level. Well, I feel like the next obvious stop, if we continue to push higher, which there's a decent chance we're going to do, unless we look back on this in hindsight and say the move to 10.5 was nothing more than a wick that lasted all but a couple hours, then you can always look back in hindsight and say, oh, well, that made sense. On the other hand, there's the chance that this is the start of a bigger move that's going to take us back to 14K. And what have we said all along? Remember, lengthening cycles are the name of the game. We're not going to 100K this year. I'm sure there's a lot of YouTubers out there saying that we are. We're not. Most likely we're not. It's going to take time. In fact, we're still in our regression band, right? I mean, we're still in it. and we're going to be in it until Bitcoin breaks above 13K. So until Bitcoin gets above $13,000, we're actually still within our fair value accumulation region, our historic, this is the time to buy Bitcoin region. Not financial advice, just looking at historical data. Again, it's this is the time to buy Bitcoin. This was the time to buy Bitcoin. Again, time to buy Bitcoin here. Still during that time to buy Bitcoin, because if the math is right, and it often is, this is still a reasonable price. Of course, we could go down in the short term, but looking over the macro scale, right? If we're talking about, say, extending this, and we've looked at this in the past, if we're talking about, say, extending this out to, say, a couple years or so, or 3 years, it's we're gonna see a fair valuation sometime in 2023 of $30,000 to $40,000, and a fair valuation of 30 to 40K, and likely to see a speculative bubble based on projections of diminishing ROI of 6 figures. So between 1 to 200,000, my guess would be closer to 100,000 than 200,000. I don't think it's going to go any higher than that. So when that time comes, of course, there's going to be people buying at 100,000, buying at 120,000, and any attempt to tell them that it's not a smart move will be met on deaf ears. And I'm here now to tell you guys that if you're buying it now, then looking, your multi-year outlook is in my opinion really good. In 3 years though, if you have that 10x ROI or that 15x ROI, if you bought it 3,100, that 35, 40x ROI, don't get too greedy, because it's that greed that will ultimately kill your profits. You're going to think it's going to go up to 250 to a million. It's going to be in the news. Everyone's going to be getting into the market. You need to stay resolute and stick to your plan. If you don't, you will get burned. You almost assuredly will get burned, just like people did in 2017. Okay, so stay focused on the path ahead, and don't get don't get too swept away by the euphoria. Now, if you can imagine the euphoria you would feel, how many of you already are feeling pretty good? Just let me know in the comments. Who's feeling good here? Bitcoin's at 10.8. A lot of us have been DCAing for the last 2 years, since 2019. We said that 2019, 2020, and the first half of 2021 are likely the accumulation years for Bitcoin for this market cycle. Who's feeling good? We're at 10.8. This is a taste, right, of what could come. Now, if you look at this and you look at 10.8, the interesting thing, right, if you zoom out, let's zoom out on this chart here. Let's go ahead and remove this for a second, and let's remove everything. 10.8 is but a pixel, basically, on this chart. You can barely make it out, that move that we're seeing right now. The candle that could, and that broke through that trend line, is, I guess on here we're not actually looking at it because it's a 99.7, so I should probably show it on here. It just doesn't go all the way back. But again, when you're looking at the macro scale, even data that say goes back to 2011 rather than 2010, this is something that you can barely even see that is happening. You really have to zoom in to even note that, oh yeah, look, it's a nice 8% move up from yesterday. But again, this is nothing on this scale. So if you find yourself having trouble focusing now, and you're just kind of going crazy, you're thinking like, oh, how could this be? How could I be so lucky? I've been buying Bitcoin and now I'm up 2x or 3x. Imagine how you're gonna feel in a few years, right? When Bitcoin is probably going to be at 6 figures. So if you extend this, the general idea is if we just say draw like a kind of like a general trend, let's just suppose that our let's say 2023, so we know our fair value in this region is going to be around this point right here. Okay, so that's where it is. If we extend it, I'm not really drawing that well. This is where our fair value is ultimately going to go. over the next few years, so in this region. And we're going to want to see a breakout. Let me go ahead and change the color. So if we're in this band for a while, we're going to want to see a breakout, sometime over here, and break out to the top of the regression line, back to around 120 or so. So just imagine extending this out. This, right, this is this is going to make people a lot of money if this happens. I mean, this is going to be significant. People are going to look at this and say, again, it's going to 400K, it's going to 500K, 330. Most likely that's not going to happen. And what you should do is what I'm doing. Not financial advice. What I'm doing, what you might consider doing, would be dynamically taking profits on the way up based on either the risk metric that I talk about on the YouTube channel or something that you set. So you could say, you know what, I'm getting into Bitcoin now, therefore I'm going to take profits at these levels, because we recognize that not a single YouTuber, not a single analyst in the world can tell you where the peak will be. Not even me. I can't tell you where the peak's going to be. We don't know if it's going to be at 80,000. We don't know if it's going to be at 120. We don't know if it's going to be at 180. We don't know. And if you pretend that you do know, this is where you get burned, because you're going to wait and it's never going to be good enough. You're going to wait. You're going to say, okay, 10K more. If Bitcoin is 120K and you bought Bitcoin at $3,000, you're already at a 40x ROI, right? So then you're thinking, you're looking at the market and you're saying, well, Bitcoin's already at 120 and I'm up 40x. So if I put in $1,000, then I'm at $40,000. Or if you put in $10,000, I mean, you get the idea, right? I mean, if you put in a lot of money, this could be worth millions. So the idea, right, is you get to 120, you say, you know what, I'm up 40x. I originally put in 50K. I'm at $2 million. All Bitcoin has to do is go up 2 more X, go up 100% more, go from 120K to 240K, and my profits are just going to go through the roof because I got in at that low level, because I got in at 3,000 or because I got in at 4,000. So this, right, is what you have to be careful of, because if you're not, then what's going to happen is this time is going to be but a fleeting moment in your life, just like it was in 2017, a fleeting moment that only lasted a couple weeks, just like it was in 2013. Again, a fleeting moment that lasted but a couple weeks. In 2011, what was it? A fleeting moment that lasted a very short period of time. No one knew that the top was going to be at $30. It just as easily could have gone to 50. No one knew that it was going to be at 1187 or around 1150. That's where it ended up being. And then in 2020, no one knew the top was exactly at 20K. A lot of people were taking profits like they should have at 10K, at 14K, at 18K. No one could have told you it was at 20K. Back then, everyone was saying it's going to go to 25K next week, and then it's going to go to 40K the week after that, right? This is what everyone was saying. Now, I mean, this is ultimately what you need to keep an eye on. And if you draw these lines, I mean, you can see these LinkedIn cycles playing out, right? I mean, it doesn't take, and it's not that complicated. I mean, you just look at the math and you see, you know what? This is what the data suggests. I mean, just be prepared for it. So the market cycle, in terms of the bull run, if this is the bull run, I mean, we're just getting started. I mean, this is but a moment in time where in 2 years from now, a $10,000 Bitcoin is likely going to be but a pipe dream. And for those saying, we've been making videos on here for a while now, and you get a lot of hate when you say these kinds of things, but it's funny, right? It's funny how quickly that sentiment can change in the market. All it takes is a few months. Bitcoin was at $3,500 or $3,800 in March. Okay, think about that. Like, just let that sink in. Bitcoin was at $3,800 in March, and now we're pushing 11K. I mean, in such a short period of time. This here was the capitulation we needed. Okay? Maybe not the one we deserved, but it was the one we needed. This was the capitulation we needed. And since then, I think the whole market sentiment around Bitcoin, it's been completely different since then. You know, this over here, it was our capitulation, right? We saw it when we went down to 3,100. This was technically a lower, this was technically lower, right? I mean, this level here was lower than this level here. But this felt worse, right? I mean, this was there's nothing quite like experiencing waking up in the morning and looking at your portfolio and seeing that it's 60% down. Is there? You have to live through that to know how it feels. If you go back and you look at, say, a prior market cycle that maybe you weren't in, and you look at, say, this capitulation right here. If you look at that capitulation, you say, oh yeah, like it made sense. This was where it started. But there's a difference when you feel it, when you live through it, when you experience that capitulation. This is what really helps bring those people back into the market that have been waiting. It shakes out, all those people that are kind of on the edge. They think that Bitcoin is a good investment, but they're not quite sure. The pandemic hits, Bitcoin drops 60% in a day, or 50% in a day, and then they say, this was a bad investment. Let me cut my losses before it's too late. Okay, so this is what you ultimately have to think. So, and in terms of lengthening cycle theory, I mean, right, this is actually kind of par for the course. It kind of makes sense that it's going to take longer to build ourselves out. One of the reasons too why I feel like this one is more significant. That last capitulation was more significant. And I think this will make a sense to a lot of people here. If you zoom in, if you look at our last capitulation, right, back in 2018, it took us to our fair valuation. Did it not? It took us right to our fair valuation. $3,200, around that area, right to the fair valuation. The most recent one took us below the fair valuation. The fair valuation in March of 2020 was around $7,100. And where did it take us? It took us 45% below the fair valuation. Now, if you go back to a prior market cycle, let's look at this one here. You can see that this capitulation also took us close to the fair value. I mean, not quite. You can see that we went down to 162. This was a scary time, let me tell you. This was scary because, it was kind of like, why is this happening? It seems like it should be going up. It just kept going down. This was scary. Instead, though, we moved sideways. And there's a nice thing about moving sideways is that when you move sideways like this, you get to the lower half of the fair value regression line. And it's nice to get to that lower half. So in the last cycle, we came to our first capitulation was near our fair value line. We moved sideways until ultimately we got to the lower half of that regression line, and then we got kicked off to the races, right? Let's go to present day. First capitulation, fair value, came back up. We never really spent time in the lower half. We were briefly there, never really spent much time there. The last market cycle, we spent a lot of time there. I mean, we were there for months and months and months off and on. We hadn't really spent much time there this market cycle, which is why this move felt so unnatural. It did not feel like we should be doing this. This was just a short-term speculative bubble, of which we could see more than one during this market cycle. You have to consider that we might see another one of these and then come back into the regression line. The nice thing about the regression line is that it monotonically increases, so that by the time we get to 2022, our fair value is going to be around 20K. So our fair value around 2022 will be $20,000. And we said, if you look at the last market cycle and you just look at the last peak and draw it across, we met our previous all-time high, or actually I should draw it at the actual candle, the wick up here. We met our previous all-time high within the regression band, okay? In the last cycle, we met it within the regression band, and then that's when we went parabolic. Because if you draw lines, you can see that if you take, say, the bottom here to, if you see our general trend for the first half of the bull market, it goes up, but the slope is not as steep as it is after you get to the previous all-time high. Then you go up quicker. You can see there's a difference there. In the same manner, if we look at the current cycle, and we draw this out, you can see that if we go from, say, the low to our next, say, all-time high, maybe our slope is going to be, a little bit less steep. And then after that, we're then going to, to make a move up to the higher regression line, up to, say, 100K. I should remind you, if you guys do enjoy the content, I have been making a lot of calls on a lot of this stuff. We do have the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. I'll put it in the link here in the comments. You guys should check it out, because a lot of these calls we said we're likely gonna see a lot of these coins bleed when Bitcoin makes a move above 10.5, and that's exactly what happened. We did this with Link. I made a video about it, or we talked about these risk levels and said, okay, Link Bitcoin is really overvalued right now. We should look at this. So we do that in the premium list. If you guys want to check it out, you do get access to a premium video, a premium report every single week, and access to a premium Telegram alerts channel where you can see what I'm doing in the market. And then you also get access to the risk dashboard, which is the stuff that I trade based off of. So let me know what you guys think. I mean, what kind of comments do you have? Do you have any questions about it? I'm curious as to if you guys, if you guys agree with this stuff, if you think it's wrong, or what. So let me know, and I'll see what you guys have in the comments here. So let me see if there's any comments. Again, this is not financial advice. This is just what I think, what I consider the markets to be doing. So, I mean, again, it's always possible we go back down to 6K. It's always a possibility. We always could test the 200-week moving average. You have to consider that may happen. But at the same time, as long as you're entering the market slowly over a longer period of time, then I think you're going to be set. I can't say what's going to happen in the short term. We could obviously go back down to 9K tomorrow, but over the long term, this is something that we're going to be looking at and saying, what, this was the time of your life, to enter the market. So I'm interested to hear what you guys think. So guys, the whole thing about Ethereum, I said this on the premium list. We said on the premium list, I said that this is where I'm setting a stop loss on Ethereum, because when Bitcoin moves, it's likely going to leave Ethereum behind. This is the whole idea. So again, if you want to follow what I'm doing, I study these markets really closely. Check out my website, intothecryptoverse.com. You can also pay with crypto and get a discount. 6 or 12 months, you can get a discount. A lot of these moves we called. I mean, I sold Link at 805, and guess where it went? It went into Ethereum. And it went into Ethereum at around 235, and then what happened? Ethereum went to 320 or 330, and then we had the stop loss set on Ethereum. So this is all just business as usual. We're just basing it off the risk metric. It's not what Ben thinks, it's what the data says. And it's just we just take it from one asset to another, and it's been working great so far. So check it out, intothecryptoverse.com. We have almost 500 people on the list. I do think it's providing a lot of value. And if you want information on it, you can always check out the public Telegram channel. You can ask people questions. People will tell you what they think about it if you're not sure. Let me leave a link to that as well. So we'll leave it to the Telegram channel. Be sure to check out that Telegram channel, because I'm actually pretty active in there. A lot of people don't really expect me to be active, but I'm pretty active in that group. So check out the Telegram channel, and then of course also check out my website, intothecryptoverse.com. And for those of you who don't believe me that I made those calls, it's all documented. I mean, it's all there. It's all saying it's not what Ben thinks, it's what the data says. And you guys, once you understand how I think and how I operate on the data, on the risk metrics, then you can start doing it yourself. It's just a matter of learning, okay, this is how it works. When DeFi is pumping and all these coins are pumping and Ethereum's not, okay, you might need to take some profits, put it into Ethereum. Then Ethereum pumps. But you say, oh, well, Bitcoin's lagging a little bit. Why is it lagging? Well, its time is coming. Remember, Bitcoin is the index. It's the market mover. If Bitcoin is not moving, the market's not going to move. Okay? When Bitcoin moves, one day Bitcoin's going to move to 20K. It's going to move to 20K at some point. When it does, when it happens, you need to be ready. Because when that time comes, the rest of the market is going to sit still. And if you're not ready and you don't have any exposure to Bitcoin, then you're likely going to see your Satoshi value drop. So you might hold like 10 Bitcoin worth of altcoins. When Bitcoin makes that move, then you might go down to say 6 or 7 Bitcoin worth of those altcoins. So just consider this as something that will happen most likely. And just stay focused. Don't get. I see so many people enter the market and they enter with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Like, we're gonna stick to Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then they start looking at all these random coins pumping. And again, I mean, I cover some of them. I mean, two of the ones, like the 4 main coins we cover, right, are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, and ADA. So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. Bella, right? Bella. Be good to Bella. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and ADA. These are the 4 coins that we follow, right? Why? Because it's, you have Bitcoin as the index, the market index. You have Ethereum as, basically the backbone to use cases in crypto, smart contracts, decentralized finance, people building their own tokens on top of Ethereum. You have ADA as your primary hedge against Ethereum. And then you have Chainlink because it is not correlated to Bitcoin. And Chainlink it improves, again, your covariance matrix in terms of calculating your risk-adjusted returns and maximizing your Sharpe ratio on the efficient frontier. So Chainlink is one of those ones you want in terms of increasing your risk-adjusted returns. So, and it works both ways. When Bitcoin goes up, Link's going down a lot of times. When Link goes up, Bitcoin goes down. It's just a matter of timing those swings and understanding how the market works. And we rely on that data until something changes. When something changes, the data changes, and therefore our strategy changes. Yeah, someone says I don't count ETH as an alt. I don't count Ethereum as an altcoin either. I mean, Ethereum has proven itself to be you can't really envision crypto right now without Ethereum. It's the backbone of the market. So I don't consider Ethereum an altcoin. I know some of you, if you're a maximalist for Bitcoin, you'll say, okay, it is an altcoin. But in terms of what it's doing, it's not an altcoin. It's here to stay for a long time. So I don't really consider Ethereum an altcoin. Bitcoin will most likely never be a peer-to-peer. It's not what it's going to be. Most likely the future peer-to-peer will be a stablecoin. This is why I don't talk about things like Bitcoin Cash that much, right? I mean, these things are, it's people can speculate on it. It's very niche. But at the end of the day, people are going to adopt a stablecoin in terms of peer-to-peer transactions, not some coin that is subject to value change that significantly on a day-to-day basis. Someone says, what about XRP? I made a video about XRP the other day, guys. I don't own XRP right now. There's a time to buy XRP and there's a time to not. And 99% of the time is not. And again, we're in that 99% of the time. I talk more about it in the other video, so we're not going to go off on a tangent of XRP. But for the most part, you don't want to be holding XRP except for key times during the market cycle. Doesn't mean it's not going to move up, but you have to think about your opportunity cost. If you have money in XRP, that's money you don't have in Bitcoin or money you don't have in Ethereum. So consider that. I'm not just going to bash on XRP. I mean, I know there's a lot of fun around XRP, but if you just look at the data, there's times for XRP and there's times for not, and most of those times are not. Yeah, and again, if you're entering the market and you're chasing those altcoins that are going crazy, This is how you get burned. Remember, I mean, if you're just gambling, this is how you get burned when Bitcoin moves. When Bitcoin moves, it just wrecks the altcoin market a lot of times. All right, let's see. Let's see what is Bitcoin doing. So it's still at 10.8 right now, and yeah, I mean, so someone says, do you think Link will drop? So I did take profits on Link at 8.05 was the last time, and I'm going to be looking to re-enter. I'm waiting for a key metric to be hit on the risk metric. So again, if you want access to that, check out the premium list at intothecryptoverse.com. If you just want to vaguely have an idea, you can look at my prior videos and get an idea of what I'm talking about. But if you want my play-by-play, you have to check out the premium list. And as far as ADA, I told you guys that I took profits on ADA two weeks ago, actually, and I moved it to Ethereum. I sold 1/15 of my position, and I told you I'm not buying ADA above 10 cents. I mean, we made 20 videos saying when Bitcoin was 3 cents, when Bitcoin was 4, or when ADA was 3 cents, when ADA was 4 cents, we said you don't buy, it doesn't make sense to buy ADA when it goes above 10 cents because the risk is getting to 0.4. We're not accounting for diminishing returns. We likely will never get to a risk of 0.9. With that in mind, it does not make sense to buy ADA above 10 cents because it's already up significantly. That's why I said, if you're going to buy it at 4 cents, buy it at 5 cents, buy it all the way up to 10 cents. Then you look to take profits above 10 cents and on, dynamically, right? I mean, not all of it. I sold 1/15 of my position. Obviously, I still have a lot more ADA, but I sold it to Ethereum. Then Ethereum moved, and then the Ethereum stop loss got hit, and then it went to Bitcoin. Now that it's in Bitcoin, you just follow that. You follow the train. You follow the market. You follow the risk levels. They're all interactive. The risk levels, it's complicated when you don't look at data more than a couple days, but when you take into account the entire data history for a coin, you learn how they behave, and you put it into a box and you get out what you should do based on what's happened in the past. Link, by the way, I will have its day again. It's not correlated. It's uncorrelated to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's going up, this is good. Now the Link Bitcoin risk is dropping like a rock, I'm sure. So Link will have its day again. Don't worry. I'm fairly sure it'll have its day again. It's just you have to be smart. When Link goes up 2x in a couple weeks, you just have to. This is the whole point behind the risk metric, and it's not just some hand wavy type thing that I randomly talk about. It's really something that you can use to your advantage. Hold on a second.
How long are you going to be? He's literally standing in your house wanting to come work on the roof.
I mean,
Like, this is awkward. I need to get
10 minutes.
something. Okay.
Sorry, we have got to work on something on our house in a minute. But anyways, follow the risk levels. I try to show you guys on the channel what I'm doing. I hope you guys appreciate it. We're going to continue to make these videos over the market cycle. They will probably get less sporadic as time goes on, so less public videos, more premium videos. This will just be how it plays out. So give me some questions. What kind of questions do you have? Yeah, I've spoken about XTZ before. So yeah, I mean, 10.5 is broken. We're at 10.8. I don't know exactly how quickly we're going to move up, but I mean, let me check. I don't know if this is updating. Yeah, we're still at 10.8. Ethereum's at 321. Link's at 6.99. ADA's at 13 cents. Yeah, so the way that altcoins get affected is if Bitcoin continues this run, they're likely going to continue bleeding against Bitcoin. If Bitcoin cools down, at say 10.5 for an extended period of time, then maybe you'll see the altcoin Bitcoin ratio starting to move up again. But as long as if Bitcoin continues this run and it goes to 11K and 12K, the altcoin ratios with respect to Bitcoin are going to drop like a rock. This is just what's going to happen most likely. Maybe not all of them. I'm sure you can find some exceptions, but most of them will drop. Someone said for premium, do you accept crypto outside of using Coinbase? Of course, just contact me through email and we'll set something up. Of course, you don't have to pay through Coinbase. Yeah, I don't think we're going to go to 20K right now. It's possible that we do, but I don't think we would hold it. Like I think we would ultimately fall down from 20K and not be able to break that sustainably in 2020. I don't see it happening. Again, it's possible we go there and then get rejected. But even then, I would be surprised if we went to 20K in 2020. No matter what, I'd be surprised. But be ready for it if it happens. Yeah, Litecoin is one of those ones that I wait until Bitcoin gets to its previous all-time high to consider. Sorry guys, there's a lot of questions. It's hard to keep up with everything. It's just going crazy here. I would remind you that I'll probably come live again later. I'm gonna have to hop off for a little bit. Again, you can check out the Telegram channel and the premium list if you want access to what I'm doing on a play-by-play basis. You can see those there. The CME gap, I mean, it's possible we fill it. I mean, it's certainly possible we're going to go back down to 10K. I mean, this is always a possibility. Okay, I think I'm just seeing a lot of the same questions being spammed at this point. It's really hard to follow because I think some people are just kind of copying and pasting the same questions over and over. So I'm gonna have to get going. I'll try to hop on a little bit later and continue to the discussion. But for now, we're gonna have to wrap it up. Check out the Telegram channel. I'll try to be on there in about 5 minutes. Check out the premium list, which I'm very active on. And I'll see you guys a little bit later today. All right, I'm gonna have to jump off. See ya.